Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this really easy and quick colour block chenille blanket. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the blanket itself, how to prepare your crochet blanket for a border, which means you can then go on to add any border that you so wish to your project. But if you're keen on the one that I've done, I also show you exactly how to crochet this really nice border too. It finishes off the project. It uses exactly the same stitch as the blanket itself. This whole project couldn't be easier, softer, warmer and snugglier if it tried. The full written pattern and information on how much yarn I used for my blanket is available on my website. For my personal blanket, I used ice chenille yarn with a 6mm crochet hook, which is 1mm smaller than the recommended 7mm hook. So just go down a hook size depending on your chenille. Chenille does have a tendency to worm and be quite slippery, and what you don't want is for your stitches to undo themselves after a bit of use. So a nice tight hook, the perfect stitch which isn't going to worm. What more could you need? Let's go! So with your chenille yarn and your 6mm crochet hook, we're going to start by popping a slip knot onto your hook. We're going to be working the half double crochet V-stitch for this blanket, and the pattern multiple for that is simply 2. So you can chain any even number for as wide as you want your project to be. For my personal blanket, I chained 94, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to make a small sample for you. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 20. Once you have your desired amount of chains, we're going to begin by working into the 4th chain from your hook. Now the loop on your hook does not count as anything. You only want to count these fully formed chains hanging down below. Can be a little bit tricky with this chenille yarn, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 4th chain. And into that 4th chain, we're going to work a half double crochet V-stitch. So yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over at the back, draw through a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and yarn through all 3 loops, and that is a half double crochet. Now chain 1 and half double crochet back into that exact same chain. If you pull your stitch, you'll see where you were working. And yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over at the back and draw through 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that combination of half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all into the same stitch is your half double crochet V-stitch. Now take a moment, because chenille yarn, a lot of it is done by feel, and for these first couple of rows it's handy to have a stitch marker. So grab a stitch marker. You want to count back your stitches. So here's your half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, and then after that half double crochet you've got your skipped chains. So you just want to mark the skip chain right next to your half double crochet. So you want 3 stitches and then mark the top of the chain after. This will just be handy for when we come back for row 2. Now we're going to skip a chain. So skip 1 and into the next chain we're going to work a half double crochet V-stitch. So that's half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet back into that same place. Again, skip a chain and into the next, work a half double crochet V-stitch, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all into that same spot. Skip a stitch, half double crochet V-stitch in the next. Keep going until you have 2 chains remaining. So I've worked my half double crochet V-stitches all the way down the chain, and I have 2 chains remaining. To end this first row, we're going to skip a chain and work 1 half double crochet stitch into that very last chain. Just 1. For row 2 is the pattern repeat row. All that means is you're going to repeat row 2 over and over and over again until your project is the length that you want it to be. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And into the top of that half double crochet from the row below, in there, we're going to work a half double crochet stitch. Now, if you want to mark this stitch, you absolutely can. So just pop a stitch marker in there. And now as we work our way across this row, you're going to want to identify your half double crochet V-stitches. So you've got your 2 stitches with the chain 1 in between. So this is why this is a great stitch for chenille yarns, because you can just do it by feel. If you just push in between your stitches, your little clusters, you'll see that chain 1 space nicely. You do not want to be working into these bottom holes here of the skip chains. We're going to be working into the middle of our half double crochet V-stitches and into the central point, so into the chain 1 space in between these half double crochets, we're going to work a new half double crochet V-stitch. So into that chain 1 space in between the stitches, work half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Then move over to your next half double crochet V-stitch from the row below. Find that central spot by just popping your finger through and work a new half double crochet V-stitch into that chain 1 space. Keep doing this, working a half double crochet V-stitch into the chain 1 space in the middle of your half double crochet V-stitches from the row below until you have run out of half double crochet V-stitches to work into, and you're right the way back over here. Meet me at this side when you've run out of half double crochet V-stitches to work your new half double crochet V-stitches into. So you're just working straight into the space. You can just do it by feel. So once you have run out of your half double crochet V-stitches to work into, to end, we're going to end with 1 half double crochet into the top of the turning chain from the row below. So this chain that we marked, in there, work a half double crochet stitch, just right at the end. And then from this point on, we're simply going to repeat row 2. So chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet into that same stitch where you just chained 1 from. If you want to pop a stitch marker into the top of that half double crochet, you absolutely can. It's quite handy. Then in between your half double crochet V stitches, work a new half double crochet V stitch. That's half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all into the same spot. You can feel where it is as you run your finger along the back. Remember, you're working in between the stitches, the V stitches, not these lower spaces in between. You're working into the middle of the V stitch you made from the row below. Work a new half double crochet V stitch into the center of every half double crochet V stitch from the row below until you reach the other side. Then when you have run out of half double crochet V stitches to work into, you'll be left with your 1 half double crochet on the other side, and into this marked stitch we're going to end with 1 half double crochet into that stitch. And then begin again. Chain 1, turn, work a half double crochet into that exact same spot, mark that stitch, work half double crochet V stitches into the chain 1 space of the half double crochet V stitches from the row below all the way across. And then you end your row with a half double crochet into the top of the half double crochet from the row below. If you've marked it, it'll be that marked stitch. If you want to change color, this is also the point at which we change color. So to change color on this final half double crochet stitch, you yarn over and go into the stitch as normal, draw up a loop just as you normally would, and then when you have your 3 loops on your hook, you're going to drop the current color you're working with and you're going to bring in your new color. Now, as we're working with chenille, you want to leave a really generous long tail. These are slippery little suckers to weave in later, so you really want to leave yourself a generous amount that you've woven in quite far. So inevitably, when these little slippery ends poke out later down the line, you can just trim them, knowing that you have a nice long generous tail and it's not going to all unravel. So leaving a nice long generous tail, bring your new color over your hook and draw it through those 3 loops. Then you can cut. Again, leave a really long tail. I can't stress this enough with chenille yarns. These shed, they're slippery, they're a nightmare. And what you want to do before you go any further is just gently knot these 2 tails together. Just a little simple knot, just gentle. You can go ahead and do a double knot, why not? Double knot for luck. Then those are ready to be woven in at the end of your blanket. Then continue crocheting as normal with your chain 1, half double crochet into that first stitch. Mark it and continue working the pattern. Now you can change color as often as you like. For my blanket, I broke up each block of color with 1 single row of cream, like I am doing now. Then when you reach the other side with your final stitch, again, if you wanted to switch color like I did in my blanket, before that final yarn over to complete the stitch, that's when you bring in your new color Leave a really nice long tail and complete that stitch with the new colour. Then continue crocheting. Once your blanket is the size that you want it to be, to finish, we're going to end with a half double crochet. And then chain 1, cut your yarn, again leaving a really nice long tail for weaving in. And pull that all the way through and out. Pull it tight. And the main body of your blanket is complete. Now the first thing I'd advise you do is weave in these ends. Leave the stitch marker from your last row in and weave in your ends. Now for that, you're just going to need a large eye darning needle and a bit of patience. So for your border, I worked my border in cream, but for this tutorial I'm going to use yellow just so you've got some real clear contrast so you can see exactly where I'm putting my stitches. We're going to start in the top right hand corner of your blanket. To begin, we're going to do a round of single crochet stitches, which is then the perfect foundation for you to go on to add any border that you so wish. So pop a slip knot onto your hook, and into the half double crochet stitch, the top of it, at the top right hand corner of your blanket, we're going to work a standing single crochet. So all that is we're going to insert our hook into the top of the stitch, yarn over at the back and draw it through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, draw through both loops, and that is a single crochet stitch. You can go ahead and mark it if you so wish. I find it's always really handy to mark stitches when working with chenille yarn. Now for this top row, we're going to be working into the top of the half double crochet stitches only, not the chain 1 space. So I have a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. When you look at the top of your work, we're going to skip over that middle one. So single crochet into the top of the half double crochet, skip the chain 1 and single crochet into the next half double crochet top. So we're skipping that chain 1 space. Again, into the top of the half double crochet stitch, skip the chain 1 space and single crochet into the top of the next half double crochet stitch. Work this all the way along, 1 single crochet into the top of each half double crochet stitch from the row below and skip over those chain 1 spaces. Once you've reached the other side, we're going to end with a single crochet. So you should have an even number of single crochet stitches across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you should have an even number. Now we're going to turn the corner. So to do that, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and place a single crochet back into that exact same stitch where you just placed your last single crochet. And then it could be super helpful, grab your trusty stitch markers and mark that chain 2 space. Now working down the sides, we're going to single crochet evenly down the sides. Now for me personally, I find that 1 single crochet into the end of each row works out perfectly for me. Now if you find as you're single crocheting down the side, if you find that your work is pulling in like a U shape, that means it is too tight and you haven't got enough stitches, so you need to add in a single crochet here or there just to get it to flatten out. Now if you find your edges are wavy and ruffling, that means you have too many stitches, so you might want to just space out your single crochets a little bit better. The aim is to just get it to lie flat naturally, and for me that tends to be 1 single crochet at the end of each row. So I'm just going to work single crochets just evenly down the sides. I do a lot of this by feel, especially when working with chenille. So you're just kind of feeling for the spot to work that single crochet into. So you want it to be lying flat, not pulling in and not ruffling. Once you reach the end of this first side, into the very bottom, we're going to work a corner. So 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet back into that same spot. Then mark that chain 2 place. Now for working along this raw edge, we're going to be working into these spaces in between your V-stitches. So right on row 1 where we were skipping a chain, these are the spots we're going to work into. For the very first one, work 1 single crochet. Then move over and find the next chain space in between your V's. They'll be upside down because we're working along the bottom. And into this chain space, work 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Then skip the V-stitch and into the next space in between them, 2 single crochets. Once you get to this other side over here, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the space and then into the bottom of the stitch or the turning chains, depending what you are met with. We're going to work a corner. So 1 single crochet, chain 2, and then single crochet back into that same spot. Just marking the chain 2 space. Now you should have the same amount of single crochet stitches along the bottom as you do along the top. Now I had 18 before you get to the chain 2 space. So I had 18 single crochet stitches. I should have 18 along the bottom. Let's see if I've done this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 before my chain 2. And then of course we've already done the extra one. So you should have the same amount of stitches as you have on the top row. And then just like we did working down the side, we're going to repeat it back up the other side. Single crochet evenly up. And again, in an ideal world, now it's not always possible because not everything's perfect, but in an ideal world, you want the same amount of stitches. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for me. So in theory, by the time I get back up to the top here, I should have 11 stitches. Bear in mind, one of those stitches we have already done by coming around. So I need 10 more coming back up the side here. So I have crocheted in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. And now for my 11th and final stitch, we're going to end with a single crochet into that exact same spot where you made your very first one of the round. So my 11th stitch goes in there. Then to finish this round, you're going to chain 2 and slip stitch to that very first single crochet that we made. Don't forget to mark that chain 2 spot. Now at this point you have got the perfect base round of single crochet stitches, which means you can go on and add any border that you so wish. If you like the half double crochet V-stitch border that I popped onto mine, I'm going to cover that now. So for the first round of the half double crochet V-stitch border, we're going to slip stitch because we want to be in line with our half double crochet V stitches from the main blanket itself. We're going to slip stitch into the next 2 single crochets. So just slip stitch, it's 1 and that's 2. Now chain 2 and then half double crochet into the exact same spot. If you want to mark the top of that chain 2, you can. Now skip a stitch and into the next work a half double crochet V-stitch. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet all into that same stitch, and then skip a stitch, half double crochet V-stitch into the next. We're going to work this across the top, skipping a stitch, half double crochet V-stitch into the next. So once we get to the other side, you'll be over by your chain 2 space. Now into the chain 2 space, we're going to work a corner. Now the corners consist of the following: half double crochet V-stitch, chain 1, and then another half double crochet V-stitch, all into that chain 2 space. And then you will definitely want to mark the chain 1 space in between your half double crochet V-stitches. So half double crochet V-stitch, chain 1, half double crochet V-stitch, all into that chain 2 space. That'll bring you around the corner. And then working down the sides, exactly the same as on the top, skip a stitch, and then half double crochet V-stitch into the next. Work your way down to the bottom corner. Once you reach this bottom corner, don't worry if you have to skip 2 stitches instead of 1, just sort of eyeball it, but you want to be heading into that chain 2 corner space to create another corner. So half double crochet V-stitch, chain 1, half double crochet V-stitch, all in the same spot. Continue working this all the way around. So when we get to the bottom corner here, we're going to be skipping 2 stitches before you get into your chain 2 space. That mirrors exactly what we did right here in the start. So as long as you have the same number of V-stitches on each side, that's all you need to worry about. So for this bottom corner here, we're going to skip 2 before leaping into doing the corner. Then work your way back up the side. And we'll be back up by your chain 2 space. So work your final corner. And then to finish this first round, we're going to slip stitch to the top of your original chain 2 that you started with. I've pulled the camera back so you can see what we're working with. We have got 4 very distinctive corners, and your top and bottom row should have the same amount of V-stitches in them and the same on the sides. Once you're happy that you have the same amount of stitches, top and bottom, and on the sides, it's really easy to continue this V-stitch pattern. To continue this pattern, you're simply going to slip stitch into, we've already joined to the chain 2, I'm going to slip stitch in between that chain 2 and the half double crochet from that row below, and then we start exactly the same again. This is vastly easier. 1, 2 chains and a half double crochet, and mark the top of that chain 2. These subsequent rows will be vastly easier. Now all you're going to be doing is on the sides. You're going to be working into the chain 1 space in between your half double crochet stitches, just like you did for the whole blanket. We're going to work a new half double V-stitch into the half double crochet V-stitch from the row below. You're going to do this into every half double V-stitch. Then when you reach your corner chain 1 space, into that corner chain 1 space, you're going to work a new corner, which was a half double crochet V-stitch, chain 1, half double crochet V-stitch, all into that same spot. Don't forget to mark your chain 1 gap. It's very easy to lose. And continue this around. Into each half double crochet V-stitch, you're going to work a new one, and in the corners, the chain 1 space corners, you're going to work a half double crochet V-stitch, chain 1, half double crochet V-stitch. To finish this round, we're going to do exactly what we did on the last round, which is slip stitch to the top of those chains that you made right in the beginning. Those 2 chains, slip stitch to the top of those, and then slip stitch in between the stitches. Now you can repeat this V-stitch border for as many rows as you wish. Now for my personal blanket, I did 3 rounds in total of this V-stitch border. I've already just demonstrated 2. I went on to do 1 more of those rounds, and then I ended with a repeat of this single crochet foundation round, just to give it a nice sturdy edge. So for mine, foundation single crochet round, 3 half double crochet V-stitch rounds, followed by just a repeat of the single crochet round to give it a nice bit of sturdiness. Once you have completed your final stitch for your border, whatever the stitch, chain 1, cut your yarn, leaving a nice long tail for weaving in. Pull it up out and tight, weave in your end, and your blanket will be complete. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you go on to make one of these really lovely colour block chenille blankets for yourself. It works up incredibly quickly and it's just super soft. I love it. Please let me know down in the comments what you think of this blanket, and until next time, happy crocheting. Bye.